Hi there, it's Jacqueline back in my kitchen for another cooking class. What I thought I'd do today, I hope you've had the opportunity to try out our Epic Box. This Epic Box is our subscription program, and every month it'll actually send you 7 different items for you to try and fall in love with. Last month they had hollandaise. Yes, you can make your own eggs Benny at home. And this last month they threw in Kickin Jalapeno. So I thought what I'd do today is do a cooking class that combined the best of the two. In fact, it's going to feature both of those items, but I'm going to switch it up a bit so you can see how versatile Epicure can be in your kitchen to help you make healthy meals in minutes. So let's get started with seeing what I'm going to come up with. So mention where you're from, pop in below. Super excited to have you here today. We're going to start out by doing today, the theme is Kickin Black Bean Burgers. Yes, Kickin Jalapeno. So in order to do this, we need to do a little bit of prep with our veggies. So I'm going to be putting in orange pepper. You do not, I'm just looking for my knife here, wherever it might be. There it is. Handy, I'm always losing it. So this is our ceramic knife, super sharp, and it allows you to cut your veggies effortlessly almost. And what we want to do is make sure that these are cut in quite small pieces so that we can make sure that they are small enough that our binder for our black beans isn't falling apart, right? So make sure that they're fine chopped. So there we go. This is our 1 cup prep bowl, by the way. The other thing we're going to add to it is onion. And this is our mandolin. Love it because it's called a 4-in-1 mandolin because it actually has 4 different blades. I always make sure I store it with one of the flat blades in it, but it's really useful in the kitchen because it's handy and not difficult. Hi, Linda and Christine. So when you want to change the blade, you just push your finger in there and pop it out. Now the blades actually come in a little storage unit like this, and because I want to do a really fine grate on this, you can see that this is going to slice and dice all at the same time. So like putting on a shoe, we're going to just push the end in and snap it down. It's that easy. Remember, don't store it in your cupboard like this with the sharp blades pointing out. They might get bent over, but more importantly, you don't want to cut yourself. And I always make sure that I keep the box and literally store it in the box so it's handy whenever I need it. So it does come with a finger guide, and we're just going to put some onion in here. This is white onion or yellow onion, and we're going to just chop this. Now you can actually go back and forth, and it's actually got a plunger unit on the top, or the idea of a plunger, and by just putting your finger on, you're actually pushing it down the chute, much like you would a food processor. So, got that all done. Got our flexible cutting board here. I want to make sure I get my onion on that tray. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start sauteing it with some seasoning. So in a fry pan, we're going to add some olive oil. I'll get my stove started here. We're going to put in roughly, I don't know, maybe a tablespoon at best, just so it doesn't stick. And we can dump our products in. So wait until it heats up. This is an induction. It's not going to take it long. Just clean up my mess while I'm working at this. And while this is going to be cooking, we are going to add the additional ingredients for our black beans. Have any of you made black bean burgers before? Hi, Pam. Hi, Deborah. Wanted to let you know, here it is. I actually asked Alexa just as I was getting ready to come on to this cooking class, and said, how many people are vegetarians? And she said 8 million people in the United States are vegetarians. Then I asked, how many people have veggie burgers? And to her astonishment, like she actually says, approximately 25% of the population will have one veggie burger a month, and men eat veggie burgers as well. Like, really? Of course they do. Guys will eat whatever they're fed. So we're just gonna add these veggies in here. It's the same with our children. And here's where the Kickin jalapeno comes in. Now this does pack a little bit of heat, and so we're going to use my 4-in-1 spoon. Dawn and I are adults. I tend to like the heat. So for this, I'm actually going to put in a full tablespoon, but if you are a little nervous about the heat, don't worry. Maybe put in a couple teaspoons. If you got little kids, I noticed Ashley just popped in. You probably maybe only want to get a teaspoon of this just to give it a little bit of a hit. We are going to be making a sauce that's going to mellow that out a bit. So this is our saute spoon. It's part of our cooking utensil set, and it is one of our more expensive items in our catalog. So if you are, you know, getting really jealous of all these fancy little tools that I have in my kitchen, there is a couple options for you. Number one, you can purchase them online. You can use my e-commerce website and just go in and grab it. Or if you're a savvy consumer, like many people are when you're trying to save money, collect orders from your friends. When it reaches the $250 value, the company will actually give you free half price and discounted products. One second. The heat from that is making me a tickle in my throat. Yes, I did say there was a little bit of heat. Okay, so you've had, Pam's saying she's had black bean burgers before. Awesome. You're gonna love this recipe, by the way. It's super, super easy. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn down my heat because this is not gonna take long at all. On an induction on a stove, maybe 5 minutes max. So while that's slowly simmering now, I am now going to get the rest of the black beans started. So this is going to require a food processor. I'll just pull this out in front of me. And what we're going to do in this packet, or in this little bit, is we've got black beans in here. FYI, black beans are called, here's the fun food fact, turtle beans. Why? Because they have a very, very hard shell. They're grown in the Americas, so North America, South America, and Central America. So we've got our black beans in there. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about this, just because I want to make sure it's got nice flavor, reserve about, I don't know, 3/4 of a cup maybe? Because I want to actually have some chunks of black beans in there. We're gonna throw an egg in here. If you don't want to use egg and you're a vegetarian or whatever, you may want to consider flaxseed, a tablespoon of flaxseed ground with 3 tablespoons of water. Let it mix it up and let it sit for about 5 minutes, and you can use that as a substitute. It's a great binder. I'm not a vegetarian. I'm using an egg. I absolutely love eggs. Then what else we're going to put in here is I'm going to season it with a little bit of SPG. So again, SPG stands for salt, pepper, and garlic. All right, this is a necessity in your kitchen. I love it. I go through lots of this. So I'm basically going to put about a teaspoon. Again, this is our 4-in-1 spoon. Can you see how handy it is? And I'm just going to sprinkle that in. And the last thing I'm going to use, and I want to really feature, is a lot of time, especially in the southern states, there's lots of fried cooking. I don't know if you've been introduced to our crispy and crunchy coating. This is a gluten-free coating, and it is super delish. You don't want to have panko breadcrumbs when you have this as the option. I'm not kidding you. So this, the equivalent of this, I don't have a measuring cup in front of me. Oh yeah, I do. Here we go. Yeah, see how handy these 1 cup cups are? But in each package is roughly about a 1/2 cup. This is the perfect amount for adding into our black beans. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. Multitasking here, doing good so far. Wonderful. Okay. So we've got this going. We are just going to make sure that we put our lid on this, and we are going to add, just pulse it a little bit. And this is going to bind it up. Hopefully you can hear me over top of this. And it's going to start getting into a ball. Remember, we're making burgers after all. So we want to have a nice, good mix on this. That about does it. So this is what it should look like. Let me just move this out of the way so I'm not dropping anything. And we're going to have to mix. Remember, I pulled out a little bit of the black beans, so you'll probably want to use your 4-cup prep bowl. We're going to scoop this out. And you're going to see that it's a really good binder. And we're going to use our burger press. I love showcasing the burger press. It's so amazing. So dump in our black beans. And we're just going to give this a little bit of a stir. And we're going to add our onion and our peppers. All right, so let's get this well mixed. Try not to crush those black beans. I think they look really pretty in the mix once you're doing this. And you did notice I used an orange pepper. If you wanted to use a red pepper or a green pepper, you could. Yellow pepper. And it's nice to have that little bit of color. I've had different veggie burgers in the past, and they can look quite unappealing in my opinion. But having that little kick of color in here really, really helps out. Just need to incorporate that onion in a little bit more. Should have got some gloves on. In fact, I am going to grab some gloves. Yum. Woo. Good kick. All right. Hopefully it's not going to be like Spanx today. I don't know if any of you watched my cooking class last summer when I was out on my deck and I wanted to put on some gloves. And it was hot and it was sweaty and oh my gosh, it was like trying to squeeze me inside a sausage mold. Someone just knocked at my door. I hope that's not something that's, no, nothing requiring my time. Okay, so here we go. This is our 3-in-1 burger press. Why is it a 3-in-1? This actually can do little mini burgers. We can do regular burgers. Oh, where's my base? I washed it last night. Let's grab that. It can do regular burgers and it can do stuffed burgers. Okay, so let's stick this in here. And I'm gonna get my fry pan starting to heat up again. This is our saute pan, by the way. This is on sale right now, I believe, I can't remember, it's Canada or the United States. I think it's the United States. If you need a really good saute pan, look no further. This saute pan has a really good release on the coating, so things don't stick. And I love the size capacity. So we're roughly gonna put in approximately 2 tablespoons. When you're using, you'll notice I don't really measure this. I just want to make sure that you coat that nicely. Now, if you're concerned about, how much do you need on here, you may want to look at our basting brush and just make sure that you've got that covered, because the black beans are quite sticky. All right, and you're gonna see that in a quick second. So what you can do in your bowl is basically break this into 4. And you may be asking, how much black beans was that? That was 1 can of black beans. Black beans are relatively inexpensive, and if you, of course, do them from scratch, even less expensive. So put your 1/4 of that in and give it a good press. The reason I have gloves is, as I mentioned, it can be quite sticky. We're just gonna pop that out, perfectly uniform burger. And you're going to want to grab, get my stove going here. You're going to want to grab your flipper. Again, this is part of our kitchen utensil set, but I find this works really well for getting it onto your fry pan. Just like maybe let it wait a minute while it heats up. Get the next one going. Okay, that's got heat already. So grab this, set that in there, get the next one going. As you can see, it does stick a little bit, hence the gloves. But how handy is that every burger is uniform? If you're concerned about it being really, really sticky, what you could do is you can make this in advance and put it in your fridge for about an hour before you're going to fry it, because that way it will hold its shape a little bit better. Oops. As I have some sticking in here. And then the last 2. Now these burgers, because you're not actually cooking meat, the only thing that actually needs to cook in this one in particular is the egg. So it doesn't take a lot of time, so it's a really fast meal for your family. And of course, if you're using flaxseed, even more, but it's a good indicator if you don't have the egg in it, you can sort of gauge how much Kickin jalapeno you want to put into your burger, because you can practically taste it before you get started. All right. Last one coming up. So we'll just let that cook for us. So what are we gonna do as accompaniment to this? Just gonna take off my gloves here. I had mentioned at the very beginning, and some of you might not have been on at that moment, but I had said that in our past Epic box, there was hollandaise. And so I thought it might be a really good idea to make some sort of dressing. So our hollandaise sauce usually is used for Eggs Benedict, but it doesn't have to be. Hollandaise sauce is actually considered a mother sauce. We know mothers are the foundation to everything. So this sauce, you probably saw it being used in my ham solo casserole on May the 4th. But today I'm actually going to make a salad dressing with it. So I've made it in advance because I want it to, of course, be cold. And this package will make 1.5 cups. So I just followed the instructions, which are so darn easy. It's a little bit of unsalted butter and 1 cup of water. What you get is this nice creamy sauce. This is not looking creamy right now because I had it chilled in the fridge. But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to mix it. I've got a little bullet here. You could use your food processor again if you wanted to wash it up. And I'm going to add a few ingredients because we're going to serve our black beans with coleslaw. So using our citrus press, you're going to want to get a lime. So of course, flip it to the green. Make sure when you put your lemon or lime in, you put it in upside down because the holes are on the bottom, right? We want to squeeze the juice out. I have seen so many times people just set it in this way and then wonder why it doesn't work. That's not you guys, right? You've watched the cooking show. Okay, so we're gonna give this a squeeze. I already used some of this last night, so I am going to make sure. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. You probably only need half a lime, but I wanted to make sure I tested this recipe before I gave it to you. So half a lime is probably about good. As you can see, I haven't compressed it all the way, but I just need a little bit of moisture in there so that it gets smooth and creamy again. I love cilantro. If you don't want cilantro, what you could do is you could add an avocado would be absolutely fabulous. That was my original plan, by the way, but this is what happens. My avocados are so hard I can play baseball with it. So game plan B. So I'm gonna put cilantro in, and I love cilantro. I don't know, that's probably about 2 tablespoons, I would guess. I may want to add, because it sat overnight, and I made it fresh yesterday, probably gonna have to add maybe about a tablespoon of water. Don't you love how I measure? Okay, so we're just gonna stick this in the bullet. I'm glad I put the water in. I can see it's working perfectly. Okay, I'm sure that's probably about good. And I'm quite confident that these are probably ready to flip. Yes, can you see they're getting gold and brown? Yum. Show you what that looks like. Okay, so we'll just get that cooking here. So for plating and how we're going to do this, you can grab some coleslaw, you can do it yourself. Good gosh, if you had just cabbage and that the microplane grater, the mandolin, you could make your own coleslaw for literally pennies. So that's what I've done. I've had a little bit of coleslaw left over, not much, which is why I'm not having a full meal, but it's gonna be an accompaniment. And what I wanna do is I wanna actually use some of this, I don't know, what am I gonna call it? Creamy cilantro dressing, maybe? I don't know, it sounds pretty good. You guys got any other ideas? And I want to add some to my coleslaw. So it's nice and creamy, but I'm leaving a little bit more, and that is so that we can decorate up a plate. I mean, remember when you're watching my cooking class, I quite often say people eat with their eyes. So we want to make sure it looks really pretty. So we'll just give this a little toss. This is going to have a really nice sort of citrusy, tangy, sweet flavoring. We're going to grab a plate here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just put a little bit of the sauce on the bottom. You can tell I've been traveling. Everywhere I went in Ireland, by the way, they have fabulous food in Ireland. So maybe just put a little bit of the sauce on the bottom. Remember that the flavor of the black bean has that jalapeno, so there's a bit of a kick there. And I'm going to grab one of my burgers. Hopefully it's cooked well. I think it needs just a minute more here. So when I was in Ireland, the food there was absolutely amazing. And I think it's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to make sure that my coleslaw was green. I saw so many shades of green when I was in Ireland. It's green, unbelievable. We had such a great time. So what can I talk about while this is just finishing off? Well, black beans, as I mentioned, you can make them from scratch. So if you're wondering how do you make them on your own, go to the store and they might be labeled black beans. They could be labeled turtle beans, and you can just soak them overnight and then cook them in your multi-purpose steamer. If you want to know how to do the different beans, make sure you go to my website, which is jmflavors.com. There's and you can do a search in the recipe area for this. Okay, so we've got our burger done. You can see it's browned nicely. We're going to grab our coleslaw and dump a little bit right on top for additional color. I've got a few cherry grape tomatoes left. I think that will be a nice pop. Let me just put a few cherry tomatoes on the side. And I love, as I mentioned, cilantro. I have it in my house and I grow it all summer. Unfortunately, while I was traveling, it didn't get watered, so it's a little looking sad. But that is your Kickin Black Bean Burger. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to grab a fork so you know how delicious it is. That creaminess of that sauce with the coleslaw, which has got that little bit of a crunch. When Alexa was saying 25% of the population has a veggie burger once a month, I don't think they've tried this, because you will probably want to have it more than once a month, and you saw how easy it is. So guys, there is your Kickin Black Bean burgers. You don't need to fill it with a bun or anything. The flavor on this is so bang on, and it does have flavor. You'll love it. So the recipe will go onto my website. Linda, you said, would you have to add extra water if using an avocado? Great question, Linda. It would really depend if your avocado was ripe enough or not. If it's creamy, you know, like guacamole kind of texture, not at all. And the only reason I added that extra bit of water is I'd made the hollandaise sauce the night before, and the ingredients, the cilantro, of course, doesn't have that creamy texture that the avocado would. So I hope that helps. Does that answer your question? I'm hoping. Instead of cilantro. I take it you don't like cilantro. Some people taste, when they taste cilantro, they say it tastes like soap. So yes, go with avocado, and no, I wouldn't recommend that you probably add water to it because it would take away the flavor. So that's it for today's cooking class. I will snap a picture. Give me a couple days. I'm doing a little bit of traveling, heading out to the East Coast here, but I will make sure that the recipe gets online at jmflavors.com. If there's anything that you've seen today that you would like to add to your kitchen to make your cooking easy, by all means, go to my website, grab the items you need. If you're a savvy shopper, of course, be a host, collect some orders from your friends and get the company to give you some free product with their host benefits. And if you're watching my cooking class and realizing all she's doing is making dinner for her family, sharing it with others and getting paid for it, and you're thinking, this might be a really great way for me to make some additional income because we know the cost of everything's going up, join my team. I would love to have you part of the team, and I would love to share the success of this business. So with that being said, thank you for watching my cooking class. Come back again. Next week I will be traveling, but I will be here again at 3 p.m. I've already made a recorded cooking class, and it is delicious. In fact, we have a little bit of leftovers, and I would venture to say Dawn and I are going to be fighting over it because there's just enough for one person. So which one is he going to have tonight? Yesterday's or today's? Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.